Gaucho ahí en la... Gaucho, ¿no?
Balón bloqueado. ¡Qué gran penetración de Perro Macho! Y hay evolución. Allá va toda la ruta. Toma la banda, le prende fuego. Y ahí están los primeros puntos del juego. Son para el equipo especial de los Dallas Cowboys. Después de bloquear ese intento de gol de campo, Dallas pega primero en el primer cuarto.
And that is how it sounded between the Giants and the Cowboys.
Wow.
And you know what else sounds great is having an incredible guest, a guest that you and I have interviewed individually, but this is our first time collectively.
Together.
But it's not just any guest. This was a former official and also senior vice president of officiating at the National Football League from 2017 to 2021. Also the first Latino to ever officiate a game. He's now with the ACC overseeing officials there. We have Alberto Riveron.
What's up, Al?
What's up, Al?
Riveron, as I like to say. How are you, Al?
I love the way you roll that R. Riveron. That's it.
Yeah.
Riveron.
Right.
Al, it is so good to talk to you again. Thank you for carving out the time to talk to us. Want to get into your journey, what you're doing now. Want to, though, look back when you think of your time in the NFL and the position that you held. What do you think was the biggest challenge for you? Was it the roughing the passer? Was it deciphering a catch? Or was it offensive holding? Like, what was the biggest challenge that you look back and like, boy, I break out in sweats thinking about it.
So how much time do you have? Like a week?
Right.
Okay.
Fair,
Let's just start there. And remember, when I started in the office, my hair was as black as you guys right there.
Right.
Okay. So the answer to your question is this right here. Well, it's they're all different, and they're all different aspects of the game. And you have to remember, whenever there's a rule change or new philosophy put in, it's mainly for two reasons. Number one, safety, player safety at any level. It's always about player safety and how we can make our game safer for our players, for the players, and at the same time stay competitive. And then number two, it's competitive advantage and disadvantage. So if you look at the rules and the rule changes over the years, for example, use of the helmet, that was no pun intended, but that was huge. Talk about player safety. So it starts with data. It starts with data from the medical professionals, from the engineers, and then we go to some very smart people, a lot smarter than myself, but that's not saying a lot. We go to legends, we go to coaches, we go to administrators, the competition committee. We try to pull in as much information as we can, and this is really at any level. And I'm referring to the competition committee, but the NCAA does an excellent job of gathering data also. And you listen to all these very intelligent people in their fields, and then you try to come up with something that makes our game safer for the players, and at the same time keeps it as competitive and as exciting as it possibly can, because we have the greatest game in the world. And am I biased? Yes. What's your next question? We have the most exciting and most beautiful game in the world, and we have the best coaches and athletes in the world. And we got to make sure that we are staying always on top of things, and we're getting better, because if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. You can't stay here. You always have to go here.
You know, we here on the podcast talk so much about just coming to the United States. Both Will and I are children of immigrants. Al, you are Cubano 100%. But when I first met Al, and it was at one of the NFL Media Talent Summits, the moment he started speaking, I was like, wait a minute. Not only do I know that he's Cubano, but he is from Miami too. There's just a very distinct accent about it. But the fact that you are an immigrant coming into this country and you oversaw the rules of, how you put it, the most beautiful and the most important game here in the United States is not lost on us. That arc for you throughout your life, when you look back at that journey, I mean, what do you reflect on?
First of all, you have to surround yourself with the right people. And I've been very fortunate over the years, MJ, to have people take an interest in me and help me along the way and tutor me. And I mean, again, we don't have enough time to name all those people. Right. But I've always had the opportunity for people to take an interest in me since I was a child. and helped me along the way. And yeah, there are times where I wake up in the morning and I still go like this and pinch myself and say, this is real. Because this has been a wild ride, a wild journey. It's given me the opportunity to meet people, sit with people, talk to people, take my family all around the world, NFL, Europe. This strange little ball that bounces in a whole different funny way. It's allowed me to do things that I never thought I'd be able to do before. So I am, one of the luckiest human beings in the world. And this game, this great game of ours, has allowed me the opportunity as a Hispanic to really, and I consider my generation the first generation to really know about NFL and American football, because we know around the world when you say football, it means something totally different.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally different. So I had to be very cautious when I told my mom, when I'd say, Mami, voy a jugar fútbol, she would say, oh, el juego de los empujones. The game of pushing.
That is the perfect way to put it.
That's a good way to put it.
Perfect way.
I mean, and I had to explain to her it wasn't rugby.
Right.
It was American football.
Yeah.
So we'd go on the street and we'd say, go to the Corvair and go make a down and out. Now I'm dating myself, okay? And she would see us out there and throw this strange little thing up in the air. She had no idea.
Yeah.
And then growing up by the old Orange Bowl, the real Orange Bowl, that was a treat.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I got involved in football. But again, I'm so lucky. And I don't lose the fact of my Hispanic heritage. I'm so proud of it. But again, the opportunity to meet people, go places, that to me has been a wild ride. And I'm still riding it.
Yeah.
I'm still
Sure.
riding it today with college football and the great opportunity that I have to work with the ACC, one of the premier conferences in the country. I mean,
Yep.
I'm in the second wild ride of my life here.
Right.
And
Right.
I still wake up every morning and I go, are you sure it's me? Yeah, it's me.
No, but it's an incredible gig, and what you've done with your career is incredible. So I get why you say it's
Yeah.
a pinch me moment every day for you. My parents, we talked about this, and we have talked about it, where my parents had no idea about football. It was
Right.
soccer, and it was boxing.
And baseball.
Baseball,
Yeah.
exactly. So how did you break through those sports that are so dominant in our community to be a quarterback on your high school team?
Talk about it.
Again, lucky. And it's just the game that I picked up growing up. I was never good at any sports. This is what I say.
Come
I
on,
played
Albert, you were a quarterback though, right?
football a little bit here. It was just a teeny weeny bit. I couldn't throw, I couldn't pitch, I couldn't kick. So maybe the fact that I picked up this ball and threw it, and I threw a couple of spirals, that helped me. So I got lucky. And then I really got into it. Networks, you know what TV does for us and our network partners. I mean, the fact that we're on TV now all over the world.
Right.
I mean, I was in Switzerland with my family over the spring, and they're playing. You guys are on TV over there.
Wow.
I'm watching NFL replay of NFL telecast in Switzerland. And where was I? In May. I mean, hello,
Right.
in Switzerland. So you've taken our game to an unprecedented level from what you do, and it's exposed it to so many people. And going back to generation, now my son has grown up with football as his first sport. Football, not football, football. So he lives, breathes, eats football, sleeps football, and he played football in high school. He was an athlete. He got the genes from my mom. Both my boys were athletes, and he still is. But it's been an incredible journey, and I can't tell you the attraction. That's a great question, Will. I have to think about that one. I don't know what attracted me. Maybe again because I couldn't kick, I couldn't pitch, and the fact that I threw a spiral one time, I said, "Oh, let me stick to this one."
Well, I think part of it too, and I'll only speak from my experience, is the sort of the assimilating to the American culture and the American dream. So when my dad first came to the States from Dominican Republic, it was in the Jim Kelly era for the Buffalo Bills. So that's all you would hear about. He lived in New York at the time. And to this day, his Bills are still his favorite team. We still argue about it. But for him, that was his touch point to the United States. He was already a sports fan. He was an athlete in DR, but for him coming here and seeing this man everywhere and how much the people loved him in the United States, he's like, I'm going to love this too. And I already love it. So he started to learn about the American football culture. And I think you can't go anywhere in the US and not see that. But I think now, to your point, Al, the way that the game is continuing to grow and the way that our community, the Latino community, has really latched on, the amount of players that we have now, I think it really speaks to how ubiquitous the game has become and how Latinos are really making such a huge imprint. I mean, you were in charge of the rules and officiating at the highest level in the league office.
A trailblazer.
And talk about showing up as your full self. I remember you telling me the story about cafecito time with the commissioner at the New York office.
Wait,
I would
what's
imagine
that?
he had not had Cuban coffee before you, Al.
By the way, speaking of cafecito, we just opened, and you guys are invited. You have to come out and see
Yes.
this.
Oh,
We have the best, and I'm not being biased. I'm giving you the reality, okay?
It's facts.
We have the best, most up-to-date, most beautiful command center in all of college sports in Charlotte, North Carolina.
oh.
We just opened a brand new command center that is absolutely incredible. And just outside the command center, we lo estrenamos la semana pasada.
Brand
We
new.
just kicked off, or was it 2 weeks ago? When you get in a row, it just lose track.
Yeah.
So we have a cafetera. I ordered it from Amazon along
to.
with a little tacitas with the Cuban flag on it. So we make coffee twice a day. And then I say, okay, bring all the Americanos in here so they can have the Cuban coffee.
Vengan
They all
acá.
take a shot. They all take a shot. They don't sleep for the whole day. Me, I'm used to it because I drink
You're
it
up.
3 or 4 times a day.
See,
Okay.
Will doesn't
But
drink
we-
coffee.
We
Don't
get
drink
to the New
coffee
York
though,
office.
Al. I don't. I'm sorry.
I'll take his.
Well,
don't worry.
this is not coffee. This is special.
Thank you, Al. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, the tacita, the little cup, that is the most important part because you have to make the espumita, the foam, put a little bit of the coffee in there, a lot of sugar. Don't ask questions. Just drink it. It's heavenly. It will change your life. It's I still can't master it, but I know a lot of people who can, thank goodness. But it's something else. But it's the community part of it, to your point, too. Like, you have to take little shots of it. Otherwise, you're not going to sleep for 4 days.
Yeah,
And
see,
that's
that's
fine. But
my
that
problem,
part of
though. I
it
couldn't
is
do that.
passing out the little shots to everybody, do a little cheers. It's sort of a moment, right, throughout the day. And I remember you telling me that you guys would do that in the league office, probably on Sundays more than once, I would assume, Al.
Sunday morning, and then right before that 8:15 or 8:20 kickoff, you have to have that shot.
Right.
You just have to have that adrenaline cafecito shot. You have to. It's a must.
Al, what were some of those cultural experiences growing up that still stay with you? For example, we asked Ron Rivera about it, and he was talking about Christmas and what it meant for him, La Noche Buena, those sorts of traditions. What were some of those cultural experiences that you remember from your time growing up to now that sticks with you?
Thanksgiving.
Oh.
Thanksgiving is the day for football. And when I went to a la casa de los viejos, my mom's family, okay, the old people's houses, okay, just trying to find, forget cable, you're getting 2 or 3 over-the-air channels and trying to figure it out.
Gosh.
If you can watch that, and people looking at you like, what's he doing? ¿Qué está haciendo el loco ese? Okay? And now, X amount of years later, I won't tell you how much later because then I'll tell you how old I am. Now, I was actually home. When I retired, I was actually home for the first time in like 14 years on Thanksgiving Day.
Wow.
And I realized, wow, this is really cool. I'm home. Having my son here with about 4 or 5 of his buddies watching football, and I'm watching football from a totally different perspective. I had to stand behind the couch and say, I'm watching fans, and I'm not worried about the ruling on the field. And I'm
Kind
not
of liberating.
concerned it was great. And I'm not concerned about that Monday morning, in this case, that Friday morning call from
Right.
some head coach telling me what happened now.
Right.
But MJ, watching that was really a cultural experience. My dad came over. My dad lives across the street, 3 houses down.
Of course.
He came
yes.
over, and I said, wow, there's my father, myself, and now my son. We're watching TV. That was a moment for me.
Oh.
Wow.
That was really a moment. That was very cool.
That is cool. You know, like for Thanksgiving and MJ, we haven't really touched upon this, but Al, you brought it up.
Well,
like
it's a work day for us.
Right. No, exactly. But Thanksgiving, the meal that we would have, so we would have all the fixins, right? You'd have mashed potatoes, the turkey,
Stuffing.
but we would also have, since we're Nicaraguan, gallo pinto. So we'd have beans and rice.
We had rice and
for a
beans.
lot of people, that was like a weird side to have, but that was very normal for us.
No, the meal's not complete without it.
Yeah, did you have that
Honestly.
at your Thanksgiving meals?
We had yucas. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yuca too?
We had yuca, arroz, frijoles negro. I mean, all of that. And then there was the turkey. And
Right,
notice how
right,
the turkey,
right.
The turkey on the side, y los arroz, frijoles negro y el puerco.
Thank you. We had pork pernil, as we call it.
we
in
never
the
had
Caribbean.
that.
Oh my gosh, I'm not even. I've never made one on my own. I've only assisted on it, so I won't have the first time you try it be mine on my own.
Bad one? Okay.
But if my mom comes, it's happening, and I got you. But it is like we start to infuse our own things into it, and it makes it just that much more fun, and it's our own version of the tradition. But Al, I love that you had because we talk about it all the time. We're like holidays. We don't know her. What is that?
Right.
Like if
Especially
you're in football,
Thanksgiving. Yeah.
that's just what it is. That is your life, and you become so accustomed to it. Also, I think my parents finally, after almost 15 years, stopped asking like, "So are you gonna come home?" The answer is no. You guys can come to me if you like.
My mom
I may or may
still
not
thinks-
be home, but
my
I'm
mom
not gonna
still
be there. Yes,
doesn't-
no,
doesn't
they'll
know
never,
what I
they'll
do.
never be over
Yeah.
it. But I think the evolution, not just of like your career and your arc, but even the evolution of the game. So now, Al, as you're watching it from the other side, at least at the NFL level, because collegiately you're still very much in it, and you get to sort of see it from a different perspective, given all of the things that have been added to officiating, the technology, all the different cameras, you have angles from everywhere. How do you see officiating evolve even more in the coming years?
So, MJ, you have to think that coaches, even though sometimes they tell you they are, that they're perfect, they're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Players, we know, make mistakes. Officials are going to make mistakes.
Sure.
We know how far replay has gotten. We understand that technology is incredible. And I heard years ago when I was in the competition committee, somebody said, well, maybe we'll tell the networks not to replay it in slow motion. Well, how can I ask the NFL network or another one of our broadcast partners or in the ACC right now, ESPN or Raycom or any of those people, not to use the technology that's at hand and afforded to them? Because, again, that's what brings the fans in. That's what keeps us going forward because we're getting better. What is it doing to officiating? Boy, we got to get better. And I will tell you, at the NFL level and at the collegiate level, our gals and guys are good.
Yeah.
You tell me another job, if you're a boss where you have an employee where under those circumstances, they make the right decisions in the high 90s, over 97 or 98% of the time, are you going to retain that employee?
No.
The answer is
Yeah. No.
yes.
If they don't
Yes,
do
they
it,
want
you
to
have
do
to.
it,
Right? Yeah.
this is how good these people are. They
Right.
go through a lot of training. These gals and guys go through a lot of training, and you rarely see, oh, what a great call on the field. Well, we know that doesn't keep it going. We saw it last night. There was conversation on a certain block, which was a great no call, by the way. Now I'm putting on my other hat.
You said
It was a great no call.
There we go.
In real time, that was a great no call. The official was right on it. He made a decision, and we got the play right.
Yeah.
It was a great no call. When you frame by frame this, and that's why our game is great. If I frame something and it's still shot, I can probably make it whatever I want. But the game is not played frame by frame. The game is played by the best athletes in the world at that speed.
Yeah.
And in the high 90s, our officials were making the right decisions the whole time. So technology is great, but let's remember that it's not played frame by frame. It's played at an extremely high speed, and it's not going to be coached, played, or officiated right 100% of the time.
Yeah.
But boy, we're up there. All three areas are way up there, and that's why it's the best game in the world.
Well, Al, so you've had to make important, critical decisions that have a lot of pressure riding into the process of it. Did you ever just go home and your wife's like, what are we going to have for dinner? And you're like, no, I can't. You
Can't
make
even make
this
another
decision.
decision, right.
Were there ever instances where you're like, honey, I can't. I'm gassed. I've already done enough decision making today. You decide what we're going to eat.
Well, first of all, when I got home and when I still come home from my ACC venue, after 32 years, she's always in charge.
Period.
Okay? Happy wife, happy life, baby.
Smart man
Smart
over
man.
there, Al.
Louder, Al. For the people in the
She's
back.
always in charge. And then I realized also, seriously, that being gone when I was officiating when I was in college football 12, 13 weeks a year, and then when I was in the NFL for 30 weekends a year, and then I moved to New York, still kept my family here. I went back and forth X amount of time. I mean, you can't come back in here and make decisions. And you're right, Will. I didn't want to make any decisions.
Right.
I didn't want to know if we were going someplace, just tell me what time I have to shower and shave and be ready.
Period.
And tell me what we're going to go eat. I didn't want to make any more decisions. The last thing I want to do is make another decision. I was mentally drained. I was. It was.
It's a lot. I can't
It
even
is a lot. I
imagine.
can't even imagine.
No, it's too much. Well, we made the best decision by having Al on the Al Huddle
Absolutely.
podcast. Al, we could talk to you forever. I want to be respectful of your time. Thank you so much, as
Al.
always, for sharing a little bit
Thank you.
more about your history and your love of the game that we, of course, love so much as well. We will definitely have you back because this was too much fun.
Mil gracias, Alberto.
You guys need to come to Charlotte and MJ talk to him. He needs to have a cafecito.
Okay, we're going to go to Charlotte, and that will be his introduction. I love it.
Okay.
Escríbelo. We're going.
Okay.
I love it. Thank you, Al.
Thank you, Al. Appreciate it.